You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
3, 2, 1.
We are gathered here as advisors, as scientists.
The kind of place we expect a ghost to like to wander around.
Hey, we all know that we're going down, baby.
I'll help you. I'm something of a witch.
Welcome to Mission Spooky. I'm your fantastic host, JC. With me today, kind of as per usual, the queen of everything herself, Kiki, our local cryptid enthusiast, Cord, and the mushroom maiden, Kayla, plus Kiki, do your job.
Today we are joined by author and fellow podcaster Thersa Matsuura, whose wonderful and gorgeous new work, The Book of Japanese Folklore, an encyclopedia of spirits, monsters, and yokai of Japanese myth, which was my main source of the Yokai Summer episodes. We are delighted to have you here on the podcast today, and thank you so much for waking up early on your side of the globe so you could join us. Hopefully you're not too tired after all that traveling.
Thank you so much for having me. And the irony is I went to bed at 9 p.m. Japanese time, Japan time, woke up at 11:30, not even before midnight. And then I was so awake until like 4 reading news and stuff. And then I said, you know what? If I go to sleep now, I'm not going to wake up for the interview. So I just stayed awake. So I'm on coffee and tea and yeah, I'm going to have a nap later. I'm good.
So for the listeners, it is technically about 5 p.m. our time. It's after 6 a.m. your time, right?
Mhm.
Like just,
Yep.
yeah. Oh, nice little jump there. And you are currently in?
Shizuoka, Japan. It's kind of like near Mount Fuji. It's kind of under Mount Fuji.
Okay. I was like,
Yeah.
I wish I knew my Japanese geography enough that I would
Yeah,
just
it's
know where that was.
right. It's not. It's like between Tokyo and Kyoto. Like it's right in the
Oh,
middle.
okay. Yeah. Cord had me. So we just finished Yokai Summer about a month ago, really.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so Cord had me trying to say Japanese cities and places and names. And it was not, my mouth doesn't work that way. I'm just terrible at it. I feel so bad. I'm always apologizing. I'm so sorry for not being able to say these things. I cannot.
That's okay. That's okay.
So how did you wind up in Japan?
Let's see. So back in high school and university, I was doing a lot of martial arts and studying Chinese, actually. I was doing Chinese internal martial arts. Went to China for a little bit and I love the kanji, the characters, the Chinese characters, Japanese characters, but I could not for the life of me speak or understand anything. Like 6 years studying the language and just couldn't. Came back, really wanted to study overseas, wasn't sure if China was the place for me. And then as I was walking down the hall in university to see my whatever guidance, whatever person, I saw a poster and there was like our sister city, our sister university was in Japan. And I was like, oh, well, that might work. And yeah, applied for the scholarship and got that back in 1990 and came for 2 years on a scholarship and decided, yeah, I think I could stay here for a while. And kind of been here ever since. I went back once to graduate and then just came right back to Japan, so to study originally.
And one of the big questions, and I'm actually not sure which one of us had this question because they wound up being kind of similar, was how the heck did you wind up getting interested in yokai specifically, or even Japanese folklore?
This was so cool because this was 1990 pre-internet. None of this was over in the States yet. It was just in Japan. And my absolutely first encounter with a yokai was a kappa. And I was hiking like near the foot of Mount Fuji with a friend. And I don't know how we came upon it, but there was a statue and I even found the photo. I had an old-fashioned camera with film and everything, took a photo of it, and just recently it came up again. So I actually have the original photo. It was wood. It had these beads for eyes, really old, this ragged vest, beak, a shell on the back, and the dish on the head. I did not know. All I knew was like Buddhist statues, and this is obviously not that. So I'm asking my friend, like, what is this thing? Oh, it's a kappa and it lives in the water and it will kill you. And I was like, well, hold up, wait a minute, for real? Like, is this a thing? And then I got my antenna out. So I'm just like always just like, so tell me more about these yokai things. And I just started asking people. And I ended up finding Gegege no Kitaro. It's a children's TV show, but it is chock full of these little creatures. And I would sit there, my Japanese wasn't very good, but I'd have a notebook and I'd watch it and I'd write down every name I heard and I'd look it up later and go to the library and try to find these things. So that was just the delight of finding creatures, and so many of them that were, how do you say, in Japan it's just kind of like, they say atarimae, which is just like, it's usual, everyone knows about these things. And I'm like, I don't know about these things, tell me more. And yeah, that started it.
And here we are.
Here we are.
I love the difference in culture, because over there, like, oh, hey, tell me about yokai. And like, they tell you about all the things. And over here, it's like, you just go down to like anywhere in Appalachia and, you go, oh, hey, there was this weird sound last night. What was that? And they go, it was an owl.
We don't talk about that sound.
And you go, well, that didn't sound like an owl. No, if it's daytime, it's a bird. If it's nighttime, it's an owl.
Well, that's not very creative, is it? Well, that's what I love about here so much is the like weird things like that, ghosts and yokai and the kind of ghosts especially. People talk about them like, oh yeah, last night, something opened my door and walked across, and no one's like, oh yeah, right. They're like just like, oh yeah, really? Okay, yeah, that happened to me last week. It's just like so not unusual.
The acceptance. This is going to happen. We might as well just ride along with it.
Oh, exactly. My mother-in-law was just, oh my gosh, she had put the fear of whatever in me by saying things like that. Well, if you do that, this is going to come and get you. Really? Okay. Everything had some deeper meaning.
Funny that we're talking about that again, because we did do a double episode a couple of years ago on Japanese military bases that were, that they're the American bases in Japan, right? And how the hauntings on these specific bases.
Oh, I'll go listen to that.
We were joking about how there must be a too spooky form for the military to fill out, because they actually did shut down one section of a base because no one would go there at night. Wow. They could not get anyone. Yeah, like they were seriously like, we're done. Nope, not doing it.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I won't tell you the whole story if you do want to go.
Yeah, I want to go listen. Oh, that's awesome.
I don't want to spoil that one.
I believe it.
Yeah, there's that like acceptance and also just our guys there. Also just falling in line and getting very much like, yeah, this is happening. We're accepting this. I need to call a guy over because he's going to get rid of the ghost in the hallway that's bothering everybody. And he gave me some salt and tin foil, and he told me what to do with it. And that's what we're going to do. Wow. Because that's what you do when you're here.
I love that.
Right?
I love that they accepted it, like you said. Like normally be like, oh, there's no ghost. We're tough Americans. But I like that. I like that they, kind of adapted. And...
Yeah, no, they weren't so tough when that same ghost kept coming every single night.
Yeah, you're not tough when the lights go out. Oh, wow. That's awesome. I love it.
Or there was a hangar where they had to paint the inside bright white to make sure that there was no shadows in any corners because the guys were freaking out and just were like, I am not working. It was mostly a helicopter hangar. It was large enough that a plane could fit in it, but it was mostly for helicopters. And these mechanics were like, nope, you need to fix this situation. We need more lighting. Wow. We need white paint. We are not going back in there.
Put cameras everywhere and give me that salt.
Yes. So we're like, so I guess what form number is that in the military? The too spooky form number.
Too spooky. I love
it. We got to make t-shirts.
Yeah, I know.
Along those same lines of how you got into yokai, then the question that I had, maybe it's a lot different because this is a newer book, but you have written other books. And have you ever run into that issue of where the research is difficult because it's hard to find the information? Or I mean, we take for granted the internet's just like, you can look up yokai and there's a whole, encyclopedia now online. Yeah. Did you find it in the stacks, so to speak, like looking for these little folk tales and things?
Yes, very much so. It was difficult for both reasons, like finding kind of obscure stuff. So one thing I wanted to do is, because there's quite a few books out there on yokai and they're a lot of good ones. And I'm like, what can I offer that's not already out there? And one thing I kind of promised myself was with each character, each creature, I wanted to do something that I've never seen before in English. So I go into like the Japanese books and stuff and look, but I also didn't want to trust just one source. So if someone said, oh, this, and then I had to find someone else that said the same thing. So that was kind of a bit of a pain to find that. And another thing is there are so many variations. Like one creature from city to prefecture, all up and down Japan changes just so much. Like some things are similar, but some things are totally different, and some of them merge. And I almost want to preface everything with, this is in this area, but if you go anywhere else, it's going to be a little different, just to let you know. So that was kind of hard to parse all that out. There's a lot. I was kind of surprised.
The impression that I got from reading was the dealing with the multiple interpretation had to be painstakingly gone through to figure out. One of the reasons that I enjoyed it so much, because you've done a great job of giving the history too behind things.
Oh, thank you.
Reasoning out through the history of where some of these things might come from.
I like that. That's
so yeah. And then the little extras, which by the way I've been saying gigigi not gay.
Yeah.
See again. I cannot pronounce, as the listeners well know by now, after 5 episodes altogether of yokai. I cannot.
Okay.
I'm terrible. I tried so hard. Cord was laughing at me the whole time. I could not say. It's funny. I just opened the book up to Rakubi.
Yeah.
There, Cord.
You had a lot of trouble with that one in the episode.
Oh man,
that was hard. That one is.
It's one of those ones that you have to look at it and then you say it and you're like, no, that's not right. Let me try that again. Hold on.
The end of some of the little chapters for each one, you have the little extras,
Yeah.
and those came in handy when I was explaining where some of them were found in pop culture, because there are tons and tons of yokai specifically in pop culture, and thank you for that.
Oh no, I mean yes, of course, but also there's so much. Like this book could have been 3 times the size had I just completely covered all the pop culture references and games and everything, movies and comics. Yeah, it's kind of impressive. It's been since I came here 30 years, and it's going back to the States now and just seeing everyone knows all this stuff. I'm so excited.
Pokemon helped a lot.
Thank you.
A lot, yes.
Pokemon and also anime in general, because I knew what a kitsune is, but in passing. I didn't really know the lore behind it, but I have friends who watch anime, and it's a word that pops up, so then it gets stuck in your lexicon. You're like, where'd that come from? Oh, that's an actual yokai? Get out of here. I didn't know that. And then you...
Yeah, they're very deep. There's another, a whole book could be written on foxes and kitsune. Yeah.
Great segue into, actually, Kayla, you had a question about other yokai books.
Yes. Now that you've written this book covering yokai in detail, what do you think you're going to do next? Do you want to keep doing yokai? Do you want to dive deeper into that? Or is there some other kind of mythology that you really would like to write about?
Good question. So there are just as many yokai that I haven't talked about. So I'm like, God, wouldn't it be nice to do some more obscure ones, like a whole book on that, more off the beaten track kind of yokai. At the same time, I don't consider, how do you say this? I consider myself more of a fiction writer. So I have all these books in my head that I feel that I need to get out. So I kind of want to write just fiction, but of course there'll be some kind of yokai, Japanese ghosty something in it. But I have that I want to do as well. So as far as other mythologies, I wish I have these timelines in my head where I have different lives that I'm leading, and one of them is I'm just like a world traveler who studies mythologies from all over the world, like Joseph Campbell or something. But I probably won't do that in this lifetime. So I guess I'll stick to Japan for the rest of this. But I do see more. I could fill another book easily with ones that aren't in here. That would be fun.
You have a story in The Fiends and the Furrows, an anthology of folk horror.
Yeah.
So is that what you're kind of looking more into?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, that was fun. Like Beans in the Furrows.
Yeah, this I do not have this book yet, and it's on my list though.
Mm.
My birthday is actually on Halloween,
Oh,
so but
perfect.
we're recording prior to Halloween, guys. But you're getting this later, but it's on my list. So I'm like, somebody want to like maybe husband, buy me this book.
Those are great anthologies. Yeah, I like that story too a lot. Yeah.
The other one that you're in, Inaka, Portraits of Life in Rural Japan.
Hmm. That was more of an essay. So
Gotcha.
those, I think, were like the people who have lived in Japan a long time, blah 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 blah, and it was about my darling mother-in-law and how she proclaimed me to be a sticky person who attracts all kinds of ghosts and things, and yeah, she had me exorcised, and yeah, she was a delight. But I learned so much from.
I love that description. A sticky person.
Yes, she's like, "Oh, you're sticky," and I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh, some people," and it kind of makes sense. It's like some people attract things, or some people see things, and some people don't. Some in Japan too, people are like, it's really funny in Japan. You just say "mieru mie," and I can see or I can't see, and people will just. You can go to someone and you can say, "Oh, are you a person who can see or a person who can't see?" Just by saying that, they're talking about like ghosts or some kind of otherworldly thing. And yeah, so evidently there are people who attract, and it's not a good thing. I thought it was kind of cool at first. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And she's like, no, it's not, because the bad ones come too. And they tend to
Right.
stick around, harder than the good ones. So yeah, assault was involved.
So one of the first yokai I learned about when I started
Mhm.
looking this up, and I remember hearing about it on a podcast. It's a very old podcast. I don't remember what it was called, to be honest. Was the Doro Tabo.
Ah, yeah.
I reading through your section of the book, I didn't know any of the I guess sexual connotation stuff about the poet the dude may or may not have known.
Right?
Could you get into like how you learned about that?
Crazy, right? No, me too. Doing research for the book, so I went and I picked the main yokai. So I picked a bunch and a handful, and we had to get rid of some and change some. And I picked it because I thought it was just a cute little, creepy little, Doro Tabo is for anyone who doesn't know, it's a mud. It's called mud monk, or a mud creature that's kind of made of mud. It used to be an old farmer, rice farmer, and he died, and his children sold the rice fields that he left for them so they could drink and party and everything. And he came back, his spirit came back as this mud monster, and he's like, oh, give me back my fields. So that's what I thought it was. I'm with you. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's what it is. And then I'm reading about
That's how it was presented to me, at least.
right? And there is an artist, and he's also a storyteller, Sekian. Oh, what's his name? Yeah. He is his Japanese. So it's old Japanese, but everything he writes is like double layered or triple layered, and it's just full of puns and all kinds of stuff. But he, in the Edo era, he was like the yokai guy. Like he wrote this one book filled with yokai, and he'd make the image of it, and then he'd write a little story, and each page or each chapter was one yokai. And he did the Doro Tabo, and he's the one where I found it all. It's in his book. I can send you a link to the one I got. There is a English version that I think Matt Alt and his wife they did it, and it's brilliant. It's huge, and it's so good because she's Japanese, so she could go through it and really get the nuances. And yeah, it is evidently he was making some really crude what? Like, I don't want to say stabs, that's just wrong. Really crude jokes about using, the wording about the Doro Tabo, and how the word for the rice fields was also a word for the red light district at the time, and all these double meanings. Yeah, that was crazy. I'm glad you caught that.
It's just like I was paging through the other day, and I'm like, oh, I know about this one already, but let's let's read. And I was like, now hold on a minute.
Wait a minute. This is a right, right? And it kind of makes you wonder about the other ones too, because after I read that, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to dive into some of these other ones that are kind of like obscure. And what does that mean? I wonder where that came from. It could be anything. Yeah, that was shocking to me too.
My other big question to you, and it's going to be my big question to anybody that I come in contact that is interested in the subject, is favorite Tsukumogami item?
Oh, I like that. Hang on. Favorite Tsukumoga item. So those are the haunted artifacts. So anything can be a Tsukumoga.
Yeah, I'm always a parasol man.
You know what? I was gonna say that. I was gonna say parasol because I moved. Let's see. I moved a couple times recently, and I'm now in this old house that I'm just in love with. And while scrounging around in some, oh man, there's stories about this. But anyway, scrounging around in some like dark, it's not an attic, it's kind of this room that I just found. There were two in there, and they're the old-fashioned ones, right? They crack when you open them, and they're the paper. Oh, they're so neat. And I was like, oh my God, I got my own yokai. I mean, these gotta be 100 years old.
The urge to
So,
draw the single eyeball on one. Just
yes, yes. I don't think I haven't thought of that. I'm like, would I ruin it? Would it look cheap? What if I made it look old? Did it in bad lighting and took photos? Oh, I'm there, yeah. Yeah, parasol. Probably parasol just because they're so cute and they do so much. And another is not my mother-in-law gave me this old, it was like a 200-year-old, I don't even know, it's like a small cloth, I guess. It's sewed very, very well. But her big thing was, she was the first one that taught me about them and how when something reaches 100 years old, it gains a spirit and you have to treat it nicely or it will come back and do bad things to you. And she gave it to me. So I'm always like wary of it. I always know where it is, and if anything falls on it, I dust it off. I'm like, "You're okay, dude. Just be nice." So that's another one I'm kind of. But it's just
till one day it's on the floor and you're tripping over it. Oh, sorry, bro.
Oh God! Oh my, that would be like the stairs or something, right? Oh, that's a great short story right there.
You accidentally sneeze one day,
Just-
just blow your nose in it, and it remembers.
And it remembers. You wake up the next day and it's across your face, like it's kind of sneaking down your throat.
I'm not strong, but I did try to do the deed.
It'd be funny, but a guy teams up with his bandana, it, like automatically ties itself around his neck when he's committing crime. Just
There is so
they go
much.
on a crime spree.
Right? There is so many good ideas in these.
I have a little brass egg that like I've had forever. It's from my family. It's from Germany. And I'm waiting for that thing to like sprout some arms and legs and
One day you wake up, it's dancing around.
start talking to me. It's like my prized little possession.
I love it.
So I'm all for the parasol becoming a TikTok thing, like
Oh.
make it quote come to life, and then can you see that? It's like a little mini movie about yeah. We'll just forget about the fact that it might actually come to life, and then might have some
Well,
thoughts
that would be a
about-
nice story arc too. Like, oh, the
Right?
goofy girl in Japan found two old parasols and she made them come to life. Ha ha ha! But oh my God, they really came.
Ah, there you
What
go.
happened to the girl from Japan? She's no longer making the TikTok videos. the parasols take over the account. And...
Yes.
Put angry eyes on them.
Right.
It starts out sweet and cute, and it just dives right into the
I love
abyss.
that. We could, yeah, it just goes really dark and it'll go viral and I'll make a lot of money and then I get, oh, this
There you
is
go.
great. I can afford something.
Oh man, I'm glad I could help.
Yeah, you're in on it. Yeah,
It's all yours.
absolutely. We
Just
can
go.
I'll make so much money. I'll just divide it up between all of us.
Listen, when this stuff happens, I only say I've always wanted to go to Japan. So as long as I have a place to stay,
There you go.
you can take this and run with it. Make as much money off it as you possibly can because hotels are expensive, and Kiki wants to go to Japan.
Yeah, there you go. It's a deal.
Awesome.
We'll split it, Kiki. I just need somebody to split costs with me.
Okay. All right.
Justin and I want to go.
Now's a good time. Yeah, so we can.
Dude. Oh, you're like the yin's so weak.
No, my biggest issue is childcare because
Oh,
my kids
yeah.
are not ready to travel internationally.
Just use duct tape. I've been telling you this for years.
I don't know
That's
if you've
what my
noticed,
mom
but
did, and I turned out fine.
my 3-year-old can't even be in daycare for 4 hours.
Then you're not using enough
I
duct tape.
don't think Sammy would be contained by just duct tape, to be perfectly honest.
Then you're not
No.
using enough duct tape.
You underestimate his power, I think, JC.
I just want to point out as a side note that I just, I edited the last episode. It's out, and it was about collecting, like how you can't, own bones in America. It's human remains,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And JC and Kayla had exactly a very similar conversation about how, the joke was that who would get mom's skull, right, between the two boys. And you made it very clear that Samwise would definitely win any battle, and he's the youngest. So yeah, no duct tape in the world is going to hold that child back. Okay. It's not possible.
He is a little red-headed
Oh,
creature of fire.
I love him.
I just had a random question come across my plate because I was messaging my friend that we were having this interview, and he told me not to ask you about it, but now I want to ask you about it.
Okay.
He said there is a yokai that he just refers to as quote-unquote Turbo Granny.
Oh, I have a episode of the Uncanny Japan podcast half written about Turbo Grand.
Oh, really? I never heard of it before.
I love that you
I
immediately
never heard of
knew.
it before.
I hadn't heard about it until about 6 months ago. And the more I read about it, the more I keep reading about it, and I can't finish it. I can't stop reading about it to make an episode about it because there's quite a lot of urban legends, I guess, about Turbo Granny. Yeah, but tell your buddy that there's going to be an episode soon about that because I too am intrigued about Turbo Granny, and there's a couple other that are similar but a little bit different. But I think Turbo Granny is the big one, just super speed.
Is this like a woman who runs very fast?
Yes, like beside cars and just comes zipping up beside
Oh,
you.
that's horrifying.
Isn't it though? Can you imagine driving along a lot?
There's something about old people moving fast that just rubs me the wrong way.
As it should.
All right. Listen,
Uh,
just because I'm starting to work out again, Kayla, you don't have to, come on, man.
If you can beat me in a race.
You'll all beat me in a race. I have a
Well,
limp.
That was a self-burn, so JC didn't have to do it for me.
Got him.
There you go.
Thank you.
I got you.
If you could pick a yokai from the list of all the yokai you've learned about, which would be the most likely one you would want to run into? Which one you'd actually like to see somewhere?
I change a lot, but that said, recently, there's kind of two. Tengu, the big long-nosed winged, right? They're just so cool. Just everything about them, their history, everything they can do. I just think it'd be like meeting some wise. They do martial arts. They live on mountains. What could possibly be wrong with these guys? So I really, really like them. And also wolves. I kind of got into wolves. Like everyone's kitsune, fox. And my son's girlfriend was talking about something, and she showed me. It was kind of horrifying, but it was like a jaw of was a wolf. But she said, yeah, there used to be a wolf cult in Japan. And I said, what? What? First of all, there are wolves in Japan? I didn't know anything. So I had to look all that up. And yeah, there used to be wolves in Japan till Americans came and killed them all, which made me really sad because I like wolves. And then I found there are temples actually dedicated and shrines dedicated to them deep in the mountains. And I just love that they were so important that people worshipped them more or less, and now they're just completely gone. So I kind of want the memory of them. I want to keep alive. So I would love to meet a wolf. A Tengu would be fun to hang out with as well.
I like it. I was a wolf kid when I was younger.
Oh, really?
I knew everything about wolves. It was the equivalent of being a horse girl.
Oh, that's better than yeah.
There's actually a wolf sanctuary. I think it's a couple hours from here. It's somewhere near Lidditz.
Yes.
But it's Wolf Mountain, and you can actually go camp out with the wolves.
Oh my gosh, that's on my list next time I go to your area.
So thank you for giving us an additional episode because, Cord cryptozoology, there have been sightings recently, as recently as February of this year, of the Japanese wolf. They're starting to think that they're not actually extinct, and that they somehow made a comeback.
I hope so. Yeah.
All right, Cord, there you
You're
go.
on
We
it.
got a cryptozoology
The hunt
episode.
is on.
Yes.
Not like literally, because we're not going to kill him.
Right.
We're gonna,
Goddamn American.
oh,
Don't I? Yeah, the find and friend.
the hunting with a
Yes.
camera. That's what we're going to do.
There you go. There you go.
That's how I do my mushroom
Yeah.
picking. 100% survival rate.
Yep.
That's a yokai that you'd want to meet
Mm.
in person. And somebody, one of our listeners had the question of, do you have like a quote favorite yokai? It might not necessarily be one that you want to meet, but is there one that's like super intriguing that doesn't matter if it's a bad one and you're like, it's as cool, but I just wouldn't necessarily want to
And
meet
is
that one.
it turbo
Is
gravity?
it so turbo gravity?
That's
She probably bakes cookies
Right?
like it's a microwave item. Just here it is. Cha-ching, done.
Turbo Grad. Yeah, I kind of like the dreamy ones, like the Baku, the Dream Eater.
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that just cool? There's just a whole idea of that. Like, okay, just let's say someone, let's pretend they're not real and someone dreamed this up. What a brilliant imagination and what a wonderful creature to dream up. Dream up. Yeah, they slip into your room at night, and if you have nightmares, they'll eat them up, and I think that's just beautiful. And that also you can't call them too much, or they start eating your dreams too. And yeah, they're like a whole story in and of themselves. And temples here and shrine, temples not shrines so much, but temples they'll have the old like carvings of the Baku that look kind of like elephants, but they're very colorful and up in the eaves of the temple. And I love going to find old temples and how many hundreds of years old is this temple? And there's a Baku up there. I just love that.
Here's a weird question, random one. Do you think the design, since it's very colorful and elephant-like, has anything to do with like maybe mixing with like the Indian region religion at all?
Yes. Yeah, you're probably very right because even the Tengu, so back to Tengu, so you have the ones with the red face and the long nose, but then you have the crow ones that look like crows, a little bit smaller. And they're evidently, whatever, it's kind of easy to see that they look a lot like Garuda, and not a good pronunciation, but the Indian god. And that's another thing I like. I love the mythology of it. I love folklore. I love the stories. I love the why has this been invented? But I also love to see how things came from, let's say, India through China and made it to Japan and what changed along the way. But that's a really good point. Probably very much could be the Indian colors.
Yeah, because I know there are other yokai that have that mix, because I'm pretty sure, I think it was Jikininki is more of a Chinese kind of tale. And
Yeah.
so, especially because of the elephant imagery, like the description always reminded me of like the chimera, but especially with like the elephant background, kind of feels very like the Indian aspect to me, I guess.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you. I think so. Yeah, there weren't elephants walking around Japan, so yeah, they someone saw it and said, "Hey, yeah, I like that. I think you're right." Jinkiniki, yeah, there's a lot that when you start looking into them, you're like, oh, the Baku too, Let's say it's India and China, and it kind of merged there, and then you get some Taoism in there, and then it comes to Japan, it kind of merges with local things. It's just such a huge subject to study these things, and yeah, I wish there were more hours in a day.
We had the opposite question, which was, which yokai do you never want to meet? I'm interested because I know that each of us has actually sort of talked about this within those episodes that we did, especially the ones that are just very terrible, like you don't want to meet those. So
I'm curious what you guys said too, Cord.
The Naparabo.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't want to catch that on a night. That would be a bad time.
You're gonna have to give me the American translation. I don't remember the words.
No face, like it's just a smooth face. Some of them no pitables are they're like a big lumpy fleshy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Related to the guy that has the eye for a butthole.
That's definitely the guy that I'm not interested in.
Yeah. Now that you mention
That's
it.
your choice.
Thank you.
That's your choice. I picked the Kappa.
What did you? Yeah, because they're nasty.
Because the idea of just having my intestines sucked out my butthole was just not pleasant for me.
For real. And that too, I mean, I don't think I wrote about it in this book, but have you heard the reason for, like, the reason they said that the Kappa did that to people was,
I don't remember. I read it in
I'm
one of
so
my books
interested.
yeah.
like 20 years ago. So I would love to know.
We talked in the episode
I would
about
love
the.
if you could tell.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't remember
tell
what it's
us.
called. The little fleshy bit that they look after, that they're looking for. Little ball. I can't remember what it was called now.
Shirikodama. Yeah, Shirikodama, the little ball.
Yeah,
The prostate?
we did mention it, and we talked about how it kind
Sorry,
of
we're
mimicked
keeping
that.
it clean. You
Keep
can
it-
cut that.
I mean, that's what it. We did talk about that though, like that might be a quote medical,
Mhm.
reason for looking for that particular piece of.
Right. I read, and I don't know if it's true, but it makes sense to me, is back in the day in old Japan, people would die or drown or something and get thrown in the rivers or whatever, and they come floating down the rivers. When I've never seen a drowning person, someone drowned or dead for a very long time, but evidently, how can I say this politely? Things expand. And if you're looking at a person that's drowned, it looks almost like someone has put their hand up their butt, and they from there made the myth that, oh, he must have been killed by a kappa, and obviously something was taken from him, from his back end, and something was, a hand probably went up there and took something. Oh, it must be that special magical shirikodama ball. And theoretically, that's one reason of how that mythology came about. It makes sense to me.
That leaves me to wonder, because I mean, when you see like a deer on the side of the road,
Okay.
the first place the scavengers usually go to are the rear end and the face.
Right.
So I'm wondering if fish have that same kind of
Yes.
directive.
Right. Yeah, because that's another thing is when I write about this stuff or study it, is thinking of how things were back then. Like, okay, there wasn't electricity. Okay, there wasn't this, there wasn't this. And of course, when ball lightning, what's ball lightning? Oh my gosh, it's got to be a yokai. So just making sense of the world around you, or they made sense of the world around them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Okay, so mine that I don't want to meet would actually be the Bimbogami, the poverty god.
Yeah.
And that's because even though there's nasty ones like Oni and Kappa, the Bimbogami scares me because it's a kind of a twist in fate. And my mother-in-law really frightened me with that, talking about how people she knew, whatever, friends and stuff, that just suddenly had their life's going along fine, and then bad things start happening, and they don't know why, and they can't fix it, and then their life goes to hell, and all this other stuff, and that's not being like you think you're on a good path and you're doing well and everything, but if something's out of your control, and if there is something that can twist your fate or cause bad luck that you don't know about, that's truly horrifying to me. And I've seen people who are like really good people but have had terrible things happen to them. So I always think the Bimbogami is just not, you can't fight it. Like, you're just kind of screwed if he ever takes a liking to
That
you.
goes back. My husband always would say, when I would say that I have bad luck, and I go, dang it, I'm cursed. And he's like, no, you're not cursed. You're just unlucky. So, well, what's the difference?
Right.
And he would say, well, you can remove a curse.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I was like, thank you. You're
That's the
so
wrong-
uplifting.
That's the wrong answer, honey.
I mean, he's not wrong, but
Yeah. He's not there for moral support. I'll just say that much.
Evidently.
Thanks, guy.
Yeah.
He's really good at making bread, though.
Well, that's good.
When reading through the book, when I got to the Binbogami, I had probably pronounced that wrong, but I was like, man, I bet this guy's been hanging around me for a little while.
Right. You start to think that too. You're like, wait, no, I swear to God that I'm not. I'm not just something with money. Like, I'm frightened of it or something. I'm just like, oh, I don't know how to handle it. And I'm just thinking, like, I know people who are just attracted to money. It's like whatever they do, they make money. And I'm just like, what is it that I'm doing wrong? I'm hustling. I'm working my ass off. Theoretically, I think I am. And I think the same thing. I'm like, all right. Maybe I got a little friend. I am sticky, right? How do I get rid of this guy?
I am sticky is a good line.
See, that I like that line only because it reminds me of we did a whole episode on hungry ghosts, and
Mm.
then ironically after doing that, when we started getting into the spooky season, we did like kind of bodies and
Cannibalism.
and then owning skulls and things like that,
Mhm.
and how necromancy was one of the reasons why someone would want to own a human skull. But you had to be real careful because there's rituals you have to do if you're going to take a bone, right? Theoretically, because you don't want them to hang on to you. You know?
Right.
And then I was like, oh, because they're hungry ghosts. Why? Because most of the places that they would go in ancient times would be battlefields
Mm.
to gather human remains to then use in necromancy.
Oh,
So, you know, it just all flowed
it's
together. And
all
I'm like, and you
connected.
said you're a sticky person. And I was like, oh, well, there's actually rituals for that. So I'll turn you on to some books in case you just
Thank
want
you.
to try
Yes,
it, you
yes,
know.
I do. I really do. And then we come back to me making all the money, and then we can all come to
Right?
you guys can come to Japan. We can all hang out. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
We got this all figured out. It's perfect.
Works for me.
Oh man. We just have to figure out like there's new world ways around sacrificing a black animal. I'm sure we can. I think we can make a poppet and like replace that.
All
Everything
right.
else is just honey and wheat and
Do
stuff that we
that.
can get. It's not a big deal.
All right, I can do that. I can do that, and we can figure out the black animal. Something
Oh, geez.
symbolic.
Right, exactly. It's all symbolism. It's fine.
Mhm, mhm.
As one New World witch had said, you don't need a real skull. You can just use a fake one. It's fine.
Okay.
So yeah.
I actually know somebody that has a skull. He's very, very rich. He's some old Japanese man and owns like mountains and universities, and he's a little bit weird, and he has pets, and when his pets die, he keeps their skulls and he drinks out of them. That's his thing, to honor them. And when his wife died, he was talking. I don't know how he'd get away with that, but he was it's kind of creepy and terrible. Like, yeah, that's what I want to do with her too. So yeah, I don't see him a lot, but I kind of do wonder what he's up to. Like with that shelf on his, like how many more skulls does he have on the shelf up there?
The easiest human body part to collect is teeth.
Oh,
Fun fact.
Truth.
Because nobody really gives a shit what happens to the teeth.
Oh, I was thinking as a mother, I've saved every single tooth that fell out of my child's head. So
Well, that too.
Right,
It's
right.
That's creepy.
sometimes you go to Goodwill and you'll find teeth.
Mm.
People keep their teeth and they'll donate something and
I
they'll
think
forget
I only
that they
I
put
think
it
I
in
only
there.
just
Oh.
recently threw out my first teeth that got pulled.
When a lot of people too, like for whatever, when you're an adult, a lot of adults don't throw out their teeth for whatever reason. I don't know if it's it's just a human thing, but like I know a lot of people that keep their teeth and they keep their kids' teeth. But there's also, it's one of the few things that like isn't incredible. Like nobody seems to care if you have teeth.
Interesting.
Because I've seen also people who use teeth to make, I think it was like the Renaissance fair.
Ooh.
People were selling like human teeth, but they were using it in like their little sculptures and stuff like that.
Oh, that's just morbid. In Japan, they have a superstition here with teeth. I didn't do it because I'm more keep the baby teeth and everything. But when your child loses a tooth from an upper tooth, you throw it under the house. And then if you lose a tooth from the bottom, you throw it on the roof. And it's supposed to, I forget, it's supposed to like to encourage growth or something for the next, the adult teeth will come in healthy and strong. But I remember asking like people who told me that. So in Japan, basically, if you like go onto the roof, or it's like littered with teeth, and like under the basement part, is it just like just all these teeth from hundreds of years ago? That's pretty gross. But I've never seen any,
man.
even though people do it. There's no tooth fairy here. You toss it on the roof or you toss it under the house. I don't know what under the house exactly means here,
Yeah.
but yeah. Since we're speaking of kind of gross things, in Japan, when you have a baby's breast milk, but they give you a section of the umbilical cord and they tie it and they give it to you and they put it in this cute little box. It's very handcrafted and it's got, cotton in it and it's engraved on the top. from the top fits in, and all moms get that. And it's kind of, this is the record that this is your child. It's their umbilical cord.
That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. It's not. It's kind of, I would say classy, but it's really really nice, well made box. It's really sweet, and it has it written on there, what it is, and your son's or your child's name and everything. Yeah, it's kind of.
How did we get on the subject?
You're kind of.
Because we were talking about body parts and such. What's legal to own?
But I don't remember what it was in the yokai. It kind of did. I don't remember. I had it tied to it somehow, and I don't remember what it was.
Too far back.
All interesting things. I was like, how did we get here again?
This is what I bring to the table.
Yeah, I know.
Random, disgusting facts.
That's what the segment we were working on should have been just called. Random disgusting facts. Darn it. Missed opportunity. This is going to be dropping, I hope I'm going to say this correctly, Tokushima Yokai Festival.
Oh, okay. Yep, you said it right.
Okay, awesome. Yes. Yeah, so it's like November 17th. And so the question then is, have you been to a yokai festival?
Oh man, they were never really a big deal. You didn't hear about them until recently, last couple years. I do want to go. I found a bunch that are around me, and like Kyoto and stuff, the big ones. I haven't. The closest, I guess it was yokai, kind of yokai festival was when I first got here, and I still wasn't sure, of these yokai things, and I was kind of studying them. On February 3rd, they have Setsubun, which is kind of getting out the devils from your house and bringing in good luck and everything. Julian was just a baby or toddler or something, and we were at the new house. We had just moved to a new house. It was in an old neighborhood, though, and all of a sudden there's this rock. It's late at night, and there's just noise coming down the street, like banging and drums and screaming and crying. Oh my gosh, what's going on? So banging on the door, open the door, and these guys are dressed like Oni. They're just full Oni garb, and they're, give me the baby. And I'm like, oh my God. My husband's working late. No, you gotta have my baby. Anyway, it's this big thing. And it's, so you're supposed to take the beans and you throw it at them and they run away. And then after they run away, one dressed as one of the lucky gods, 7 lucky gods, comes in and he gives you sweets and stuff. But gosh, I used to love that every year. That was so much fun. See him coming down the street, just wild. They don't care who they scare. They don't care if they traumatize these poor children. They're fine. That said, I want to go to a yokai festival, like a real one.
So this is something that's relatively newer.
Oh, I never heard about them until, and they might have had them, like in Kyoto and in Tokushima and all these different places that they were so local that they didn't make the news or something. But just the past couple years, I've been hearing about some of the yokai festival or Akiyakyo, 100 Demons Night Parade Festival. That's nice. I had heard about fox ones. Like everyone dresses up as kitsune foxes and they walk along and do a parade. That's been around for a while, but it's kind of far up north and I couldn't get to it. But yeah, I do have a list.
I'm sure the people go all out on those costumes.
Yeah, can you imagine? Yeah, I just want to go see the costumes and take pictures. No hunting.
I want to see who goes as the butthole guy.
Challenge accepted.
Uh-oh.
No, not at all. Just kidding.
Mission Spooky starts sending Theresa money for her cosplay. That we're funding the Butthole Man cosplay. My sister lives in Norway, and we have just started to get into having Halloween. It was not a holiday for them at all.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So just when you said, this could be something that's not quite as advertised, but now it is. It seems like the spooky elements in other countries are kind of starting to get noticed a lot more and used. And it didn't occur to me that other countries didn't really celebrate Halloween. Having, you grew up in America, you just figure, most everybody's about the same. At least I thought Britain was very close to us, but this is a more recent thing for them as far as historically celebrating Halloween. They're now finally having on par money wise of people buying Halloween decorations.
Oh, good.
The same as Christmas, it's getting close. And like I said, Norway, she's got 2 girls and they're over there too. So the girls are just like, yeah, we're finally going to a Halloween party. Like people are like really just starting to get into it over here in
Yeah.
Norway. And we're like the ambassadors of Halloween, you know, we're
Yeah.
cosplay. So their costumes are all handmade too. And they're
Oh,
just like,
nice.
we're going to show people how to make costumes and this is going to be so much fun.
That's so much more lighthearted than how my sisters first started doing Halloween, which was, hey, Dad finally says SpongeBob might not be the devil.
Well, Japan too. When I first came, there's no Halloween, like nothing. Of course, no Halloween. They didn't do it, and I pretend that I was a huge instigator in bringing it to my city because we knew a street with all these old shops on either side and everything, and they wanted to do some kind of special festival or something. And I was talking about Halloween. He's like, "What's this Halloween thing? Oh, you dress up, blah 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 blah." Anyway, long story short, he decided to have the very first Halloween festival, and it really took off because Japanese just love this. You know, of course, cosplay and dressing up. They didn't know Halloween, but they liked doing that. So it took off. And first year, Julian, my son, was he's kindergarten. And him and his friends dressed up like little kappa. They're so cute. They had these little kappa costumes, and mom's handmade them and everything. And they won like $1,000. I mean, divided up, it's $100 each, but still, they won like this big cash prize and everything. And that was nice. And then trick or treating isn't here at all. Halloween kind of became like adults down in I don't know, where is it? Shibuya, Roppongi, Shinjuku, that area. Now it's just like, it's no fun now because it's just like an excuse to get drunk and be obnoxious and flip cars. So it's kind of or go on trains and assault people. So it's kind of got a bad vibe now. But for kids, I did in our neighborhood, there's like neighborhood groups. So you have like 20 houses in a group. And there's this, it's called a kaidanban, and it's like a folder. It's this thick folder and news, like garbage pickup day is whenever. And anyway, it gets passed around all the houses. And any kind of neighborhood news or city news or everything is put in there. It gets passed around and everyone reads it. So one year we're like, can we try to introduce trick-or-treating to the 20 houses? And we put in a history of Halloween and how you do it, and this is what we're going to do. So all the kids in the neighborhood, you can dress up from this time to this time. We're going to all get together in front of my house, and we're going to go to all the houses, and we're going to trick-or-treat. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. I'm not going to make people buy candy or anything. What's so funny though is no one had ever done trick-or-treating before. So all these houses, these old men and women, either one, they had just way too much candy. Like they just had buckets, and they're just like, the kids had to go back like 3 times to empty their bags because people were just giving them too much candy. And another one was ice cream. Like a little old lady would come out, here's some ice cream for you. I'm like, well, we got to walk. It's gonna melt. We can't do that. So there's all these like big mistakes going on, but it was cute. And we did it a couple years and everyone liked it. But yeah, Halloween is adopted, not so much trick-or-treating yet.
All right. So that actually covers all of the questions that everybody had. That's cool. And then JC, if you want to go ahead and ask the
question I ask every guest. Yeah. Now we talk a lot about paranormal entities and cryptids and stuff. So and I guess if you want to throw yokai in here, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But what is your favorite cryptid and why is it the squonk?
Okay. This is a loaded. I know skunk is really cute. I have a friend that draws pictures of them. Okay, skunk's nice. Also, as far as cryptids go, I think Japan has one cryptid. It's the yokai too, but it's the tsuchinoko, which is a fat little snake, right? It's kind of fat in the middle. It's got a little bitty tail and it's got a little bitty head, and it holds its tail in its mouth and it rolls. And
I love it.
Yeah, they're hilarious. And for the longest time, I was told about them like they were real. Like they're like, oh yeah, the tsuchinoko, that's in some parts of Japan. They're very rare. And then the more I read about them, I'm like, oh, maybe they're not real. So yeah, and then they have the festivals like once a year at a couple places where people go out and try to find them. And they're doing cute. They'd probably be friends with a squonk. They'd be buddies.
I'd hope so.
I say tsuchinoko.
That's a cute little cryptid. I love him.
He's got a bounty on him for capturing him.
Yeah. If you find even a photo, you can make a lot of money.
The hunt is on.
It is adorable. I love snakes, and my husband like can't stand them. So
I like snakes too.
I'm like, look at this little guy. He's just a little fat snake.
How can you not like a fat one?
And it's a little fat snake.
He's just a little fat guy.
So where can we find your book currently?
So let's see, thersamatsura.com. That website's got it. The Uncanny does. Kind of on most social media. Amazon. I think it's up on Simon & Schuster website. Yeah, if you just Google the either Uncanny Japan or Thersa with only one E, Thersa Matsuura, and yeah, I think I come up and it'll all lead back to probably the book of the books. Uncanny Japan is 7, 8 years old, and I was going for more obscure, like little nuggets of culture that most people didn't hear about. And the episodes are a little bit longer now, not too long, 15, 20 minutes or something. But yeah, I kind of go into everything from creepy stuff to just weird stuff, sometimes language stuff, mostly things that I find I haven't seen anywhere else or I haven't seen talked about a lot. And then I go into those. Hence, Turbo Gravity is going to be making an appearance soon. But yeah, just whatever strikes my fancy and I think is just weird enough and obscure enough that someone else might like it. So that's usually what those are. Sometimes reading stories.
I personally have two on deck that I'm very intrigued by, which is the Supernatural Trees.
Ooh,
Part 1 is out, right? And then the Chopstick one is on deck. Because I was like, ooh, what? Deathbringers?
Right.
Okay, I'm there. You got me. I'm intrigued.
It's interesting because I've got like some people really like the scary stuff, so they like that stuff, and some people really like the language stuff. It's niche, but it's also not like super niche because I do other stuff. And the chopstick one was just because I was interested in it, and I thought it was very the whole superstitions behind chopsticks. And my partner also edits the shows and does all the audio for them, and he was like, "Oh, I really like this one. I really like. I learned a lot." I was like, "Oh, thank you." Because most people want to hear about, yokai and ghosts, not chopsticks. But yeah.
I was also a chef for 14 years, so
wow.
I'm always interested in any kind of food ways and
Ooh.
etiquette and superstitions and mysterious things having to do with recipes, and I'm totally into that stuff. So
Oh, neat.
dear listeners, go check out Uncanny Japan. And I know the first episode I listened to was because you specifically said these were little snippets that you were going to cover that are not in the book, because it just wasn't enough to it's kind of like you had said, I don't want to say they don't deserve to be in the book, but it's like there just isn't enough there to get even a page out of it.
Right.
The story is so tiny, but that's the way it is with yokai. There just seems to be a lot of like random,
Right.
here's a tiny story that's like 5 sentences long.
That's it.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. And then there's stuff, like the Tengu or the foxes that are just like so much. It just never ends. But
And then you also have an awesome Patreon,
oh yeah,
which
I
has
got that
tons
too.
of extra. Yeah, you've got tons of extra stuff for Uncanny Japan.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love your little yokai designs.
Oh.
Now, are you the artist or is that someone else?
The Uncanny Japan logo guy? Is that the one you're talking about?
There's like the Tanuki and the Kitsune and the Kappa.
I did those. Yeah. I try to draw.
You did
I
those.
want to.
That's
I want to
awesome.
be able to draw. So that's like my big goal is. So I'm teaching myself slowly on Procreate. But yeah, those were fun to make. Little creatures for the tears.
And I'm going to plug this for the $5 level because there is an episode available called Holy God Balls Batman. And I just feel like our listeners need to go check out your Patreon because that's worth $5 right there. Just the name of it. I want to listen to that.
That was something that actually is I did a post. So I do like weekly posts, and that was about I did not know this. I lived here almost 35 years, and I did not know that you can actually go to shrines and get they're wooden, whatever wood, cedar or whatever they're made of, balls that they're engraved with either Japanese characters or Sanskrit or something, and you can collect them. You can go to certain temples and collect them, and you put them on a rope, or you can hang out. But anyway, they're supposed to be very, very lucky and powerful, and they look cool too. And I was, how did I not know this is a thing? This is so cool. And each temple has their own style.
So, follow-up question.
Yeah, yeah.
How many balls do you have?
None. I have none, and I have none because I haven't been there to collect any yet. I kind of wished I would have been.
That's a separate fun that we're gonna be. We have another fun. We got okay. We got the cosplay one, and we now have the collection balls for Theresa to go get ball. Okay. Yes.
Yes. Yes. I wonder if that's where it came from, Pokemon.
Oh my gosh!
Right? I
Wow.
had no idea.
Right?
That makes sense. Mm.
It does. It actually does. Wow. Okay. I just want to thank you so much for joining us sincerely, especially
Gotta
what your
collect 'em
schedule
all.
was, and we're just so happy that you could make it work and go get some rest.
Thank you. Thank
after
you so
this.
much for having me. This is so fun. Thank you.
And you are welcome to come back anytime.
Mm.
We're excited for anything that you've got coming in the future. So,
Thank you.
as always, guys, stay spooky and don't die. But if you do, contact us.
And if you want to contact us, you can do something called kokuri-san, which is a kind of Japanese Ouija board, but you call on a fox, and the fox spirit will come and it will talk through you, and it's pretty creepy. And yeah, look it up if you don't know, kokuri-san. It's actually scarier than Ouija for me.
I'm into it.